Okay, and let's get into hour number 3. Glad you're along on this Thursday, which still seems like Friday to me, but it will be Friday tomorrow, the 1st of July. What does it mean? We're halfway past already. Okay, zooming along. Stephen Hewer joins us again tonight. Stephen, of course, with the amazing product, Chrysalis, among many products that he has. He's got another new one out, which is turning out to be almost as big a success, or maybe even a bigger success than Chrysalis. It's called One World Whey, or something like that. We're going to find out the whole story from Steve. See how I build the drama there? Stephen Hewer is with us. Hi, Stephen. Welcome back.
Hi, Jeff. You do a good job of introducing things so there's suspense and anticipation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, you're a naturopath. You've been at this a long time, and I've known you for, a number of years now, and you've always been amazing when it comes to being able to cite the data. You don't just talk about anecdotal stuff. I mean, there's really hard data. Now, we are, of course, all concerned about Codex Alimentarius and the removal of our right to put in our bodies natural, God-given things. This is really an ugly situation. But you're tough. You're hanging in there, and you're not making claims. You're staying well within the rules and guidelines, and you're letting the products do the talking. And now, this whey product is interesting. I first learned about whey, I guess it was in the university, and I learned about the idea of homogenizing milk and how that homogenization process allowed arterial damage, in fact, encouraged arterial damage to happen. There's an enzyme called the XO, or xanthine oxidase enzyme, which is always broken down in the stomach. But when you homogenize milk, the tiny little fat molecules cover this enzyme and carry it right through the stomach, into the digestive tract, into the bloodstream, where it goes into the arteries and veins, and it irritates the arterial walls, and the body secretes and builds plaque to repair the damage. That was a shocker for me. It was one of the first things I learned about nutrition and how dairy is bad for you, in most cases, but not all. So tell us about this whey product. It's a fascinating story.
Yeah, it's actually quite impressive, just being a nutritional practitioner trying to help people, regain radiant health. And what's the best way to do that? There's an infinite number of choices supplementally to take, and it's confusing and overwhelming to people that don't do this for a profession. So, you go into a store and you see several dozen protein powders on the shelves, which is the best to take. And basically what I'm seeing is that the whole gift that nature put into the whey has been robbed from it, and not being able to impart the benefits that people were experiencing from the liquid portion of the whey, which was the health benefits were first discovered as far back as 1749, when one man's health was reversed from a death sentence in Switzerland to a resurrection and healing of his ailment completely after spending several weeks or months drinking fresh liquid whey. And then everybody flocked to this little town in Gaia, Switzerland, and began drinking this fresh liquid whey as the byproduct of making cheese. And their health was flourishing, so they set up a spa in Gaia, Switzerland, that became the first spa to dispense fresh liquid whey as a health rejuvenation clinic. And then 160 spas were set up throughout Germany, Switzerland, and Austria throughout 1749 to the early 1900s, dispensing this fresh, raw liquid whey. And the rich and famous and the aristocrats would all flock to these places to regain their health, to get rid of gout or whatever, because it was such a consistently effective method of doing it. And in my research of just reading books on the benefits of raw milk, where William Campbell Douglas writes, the milk book, and he's got article after article, report after report of people restoring their health on just a raw milk fast from grass-fed cows. High blood pressure coming down, obesity going away, kidney failure reversing, all kinds of ailments going away just from drinking fresh, raw, liquid milk.
That's not goat's milk. You're talking about cow milk.
Yeah, fresh, raw cow's milk from, grass-fed sources. And, most of the bad rap that milk got arose from the 1850s when they had these swill dairies and where the cows were fed. They lived in stockyards, all fenced in, no grass, and they were eating the spent grains that are used to make alcohol, whiskey, or beer. And there was no nutrition, and so these animals were basically sick and dying in these stockyards and living in their own feces, and their milk was so full of bad bacteria for, human digestive tract health that infants were dying of dysentery from drinking this kind of milk. But at the same time, the entire surrounding community of grass-based dairy farmers were known to produce milk that was completely safe and didn't need to be heated. But the idea came that this locally or in-city produced, stockyard-produced swill dairy milk was so disease-promoting to infants that the idea came that let's cook this stuff and kill the bacteria, and then take away the risk for infants dying of dysentery. And that's what they did. And that's where the first threats of raw milk associated with human disease were connected from. But there's no support to that when you actually go back to the original roots of how a cow is raised on its normal diet of grass, and the milk is produced under healthy conditions, and then the milk is actually able to kill organisms. You could put, organisms in raw milk, and the lactic acid production from beneficial bacteria kills the brucellosis or the listeria or whatever it is. So it's just a distinction that people need to make that, raw milk can be very health-giving, and it just has to come from a healthy animal and, predominantly grass-fed. Mm-hmm. So these articles that I've read have basically shed light on the fact that it appears that the majority of the portion of the health benefits being given to people from raw milk stems from the whey portion, because the whey portion is particularly rich. It's rich in the amino acid cysteine, and that the person's body, from having an abundant supply of that sulfur amino acid, is now empowered to start to create all the glutathione it needs to detoxify itself at the cellular level and also to neutralize free radicals. And it appears that glutathione is the body's number one antioxidant and the number one detoxifier of all toxins. And so when you understand that human health is largely linked to human disease is largely linked to the inability to detoxify your body, not only digestively, but also cellularly, and that having spent a lot of time dealing with digestive tract detoxification measures, from liver gallbladder flushes to intestinal cleansing to the periodic fasting to, reimplanting of beneficial bacteria and all these healthy measures, those will only serve in part to regain your health, but not necessarily completely. And in my experience of 20 years, it's been failing miserably for people that have had any of these more severe ailments with regards to heavy metal levels in their body, which most people have: mercury, cadmium, lead, arsenic, from various sources in the environment, food, and or dental work. And their bodies are therefore enzymatically paralyzed from detoxifying, because that's what these heavy metals do. They stop your body's ability to detoxify itself.
Not only heavy metals, we come into contact with between 10 and 15,000 chemicals a day.
Yeah.
Not just in our food, in all forms of life and transit, touching things, breathing things, it doesn't matter. We are in such a toxic environment. I'm amazed people live as long as they do. The human body is an incredible machine. And that's why, if you just clean up your diet alone, in many cases, cancer will go away.
Yeah.
Cancer actually grows. If you imagine a human body is rather like a petri dish with a growth medium in it, and if you corrupt that growth medium and it gets real nasty and punky, you're going to get all kinds of things growing in it. And then if you cut the oxygen down, oxygen, of course, is a cleansing agent. It's the oldest form of therapy there is, breathing. You got like a fish tank when you shut the bubbler off. And the fish tank will grow mold, algae, fungus, and all kinds of things, and the fish will die. Yep. That's the human body.
Exactly. Really good analogy. And that's what people need to understand to get off the idea that they're going to, if they did get some kind of tumorous growth in their body, the idea that you could cut it out doesn't understand that the overall body has the conditions for cancer to grow. And just taking out the actual tumor they've been able to locate in the body won't stop the continued progression of more cancer, more tumor cells occurring. So, let's just deal with the cause and get to the actual, solution.
Well, that's what Rife discovered, that the body is the medium. And as the medium corrupts, things grow. Yeah. And if you simply cleanse the medium, things die. And that's what the immune system needs to do. But if you're eating trash food with all kinds of FD&C, colors, dyes, herbicides, I could go on and on. You get the picture. Your immune system actually has to fight and do battle with the very food you're eating to try to sustain itself.
That's
it's amazing.
people don't realize that the degree to which their food is cooked, processed, and embalmed, whether that's simple canning, freezing and buying pre-prepared frozen foods, overcooked foods, end up creating such damage to their food that they're creating so much inflammation and so much increase in white blood cells to try and enzymatically digest all this stuff, that there's this tremendous overwork in their body and inflammation to their liver and their intestinal lining that sets up a whole condition for all this water retention, the weight gain, the slowing down of energy production, the depression, you name it. All these conditions are so linked to the digestion and to cleanliness of the tissues that you could fix if you just went back to an organic, fresh food-based diet where you prepare your foods as much as possible.
Agreed. Stand by. We'll be right back. We have 3 special guests coming up next to talk about this whey protein powder that is doing such amazing work with people. So hang in there. Okay, and we're back with Stephen Hewer. The website is One World Whey, WHEY, oneworldwhey.com, and the whole story is there. And it's really an amazing story. Another product picked up by Stephen and brought to the American public. Comes in vanilla, chocolate,
and strawberry.
And I was going to say one other. There's a lot to be said about this. Now, I'm a vegan. I don't do dairy. I just don't. I mean, I'm going to do it. You're going to do it right. But for people that do, this is the safest way I know. This is all grass-fed. These cows are not... Look, 89% of America's dairy cattle have BLV. They test positive, seropositive, for bovine leukemia virus. It's a fact. BLV leads, in many cases, if the cow lives long enough, to cancer and all kinds of catastrophic illnesses. But we're not told that. So what you want to do is get cows that are outside the system. It's not this big factory farm nightmare. And these are very interesting cows. Tell us a little bit more about that, then we're going to meet our first special guest.
Well, basically, the cows are being raised by Amish farmers out of New York, and so these Amish men are not using any pesticides, herbicides, chemical fertilizers. It's an entirely organic operation, though not certified organic, because that's just a hoop to jump through to get, they don't do that. They don't go with government permission. They just farm naturally. And then they let the cows eat grass all year long. They harvest enough grass, nutritionally rich grass in terms of lots of leafy foliage on it for the winter months, so they're fed that in the winter months. And that they eat that as their diet 24/7, 365 days a year, and they're producing this really high quality milk. And the thing is that the inventor of this product actually used several other grass-based dairy farmers' milk product before he settled with these guys, because he found this to produce the best results. So
Well, I hear you loud and clear. All right, Doug is on the line, and Doug, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, thanks for being here tonight. Stephen is here. Stephen, go ahead, please.
Hey, Doug, thanks for coming on. And, I'm wanting everyone to hear from other people that have basically been taking the One World Whey, the physical transformations that each person's experienced. You've had some unique ones happen, and start like you always do, just to state, your age and then what happened as a result of being on the whey from point 1 to then when the detox started to happen, how long the detox took, and then the overall benefits to your body. You said there were some changes to your body and some benefits to your wife you shared with me. So if you could share with everyone those experiences, we'd be very grateful.
Great. Go ahead, Doug, please.
Oh, yeah. I'm 50 years old, very physical, drove race cars for a living for many years, and been around steel fabrication also for many years. And I got on Stephen's One World Whey, and in a matter of, I believe it was about 10 days, I started having this real redness around my eyes, and it was so severe that it was actually burning the skin around my eyes. The detox that was happening.
How many days did that happen for? Like, how many days? Was that 3 days you said, or 5 days?
This would happen for 4 days, and then it would start to clear up. And that process took me approximately 5 days to have it cleared up. And then within 2-3 days of that, this process would happen again. I'd wake up in the morning, and the skin around my eyes would be red, and it would just get very severe within that 4 or 5 day period again.
Uh-huh.
And then I'd clear it up again, and in a couple days it would start again. And this process happened 3 times. And I mean, whatever toxins were coming out, it would actually burn my skin.
Well, let's go back and identify that, because when I asked you about that, you specified what you did for a profession and how this was, so relate to people what you did for a profession that was indicative of what was coming out of your face.
Yeah.
You said you were a metallurgist.
Well, he worked with sheet metal fabrication on cars, I would suggest, and he's a race car driver, so he's exposing himself to toxicity there, fumes.
Well, yeah, but specifically I want to get to the point of on his face, because he said that he worked all the time with metal dust particles on his face all the time.
Oh, sure.
So tell them that.
Yeah, grinding metal and aluminum all the time. And what I didn't notice until this process ended, until this detox ended, was I never rubbed my eyes after the detox happened. But before the detox, I would always be rubbing my eyes. My eyes would always be irritated and itchy.
So your body was on a slow road to detoxing through your eyes to begin with, and somehow the whey accelerated that, sounds like.
Exactly.
Yeah, it certainly did, and still now, I hardly ever rub my eyes. My eyes aren't itchy no more.
And so what I just want to chime in so people get a good picture of this is that you had metal dust particles on your face as a profession for hours at a time every day. These metal particles built up in your face, and then you had a chronic inflammation problem where you had some degree of itchiness. Then you were on the way, and you underwent a strong enough detox process that it was coming out through your facial tissues, correct?
Oh, absolutely, Steve, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then after that, you experienced also some benefits physically to yourself, please describe that, and then also what your wife
hold on a second, Doug, if you would. We have to take a break, so get ready for that, and we will hear from Doug in just a couple of minutes. Other benefits of this really unique whey product. Next. Okay, we're back. Now, talking to Stephen Hewer about oneworldwhey.com. That's WHEY. And Doug is on the line. All right, Doug, we just have a couple minutes, so tell us the other things you noticed about your wife and your health in terms of the reaction, positive reaction from consuming this protein powder, which is very unique.
Yeah, I've also noticed that personally my muscle mass has increased, and I have not increased physical activity or working out or anything like that there with weights or anything.
You mean you got ripped without doing anything?
Yeah, my muscle mass and my actual physical sculpture has greatly improved, absolutely, and I have not.
How interesting.
Increased my physical activity, and same as my wife. My wife noticed it also, that her body figure has actually, much more definite, and she does not work out at all. She works for herself in an office where she's sitting in an office all day, and I thought that was pretty impressive.
So what's the deal with that, Stephen? How does whey contribute to redefining the musculature of the body?
It's the highest dietary source of branched-chain amino acids, and the 1/3 of your muscle proteins are made up of branched-chain amino acids. And so branched chains are valine, leucine, and isoleucine, and because they're not denatured, you get the full utilization, whereas compared to another whey protein powder, you're going to lose perhaps 15, 30, or more % of the usability of what's in that product. And so you're able to maintain or gain the optimum muscle size and proportions that your body would naturally have because you're having so much more available to your cells to absorb. And also it maintains your glutamine levels. Branched-chain amino acid maintains your glutamine levels, and your muscles feed on glutamine. So there's a couple of mechanisms supporting muscle size, strength, and growth for people who have lost muscle mass, which is one of the things of aging, is you do lose muscle due to declining the level to maintain the protein synthesis in the muscles, and this one food helps reverse that potentially.
Very good. Okay, anything else, Doug?
And just with what Stephen was talking about there, as the age, I definitely felt weaker. That I couldn't feel strong in my muscles. But after being on the One World, after being on the One World Whey now for a while, you actually can feel your muscles strong throughout your body, and that is a very, very true statement. I'll tell you, that has made a huge difference.
How?
That's not uncommon. That's actually a comment we've heard from several people, that people are stronger on the product.
How do you take the product each day, Doug? And then we have to go.
In my cereal in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
I take half of the One World Whey of the protein in my cereal, and then I have a green drink that I make up for lunch, and I put the other half in it, and that's my lunch.
Very good. That's all you need. Very good. Yeah, I have a drink too, and all four of them. As long as you put the right things in.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely, and it makes a difference. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Doug, thank you. Very interesting indeed. Our best to you. Keep it up, and glad to have had you on the program tonight to hear all this. Thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
All
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, excellent. Let's get right to our next special guest, and she is Rita, I believe. Let's find out. Are you there, Rita? Not yet. I guess we're dialing her up right now. Okay, so how long has the product been available? Not too long.
12 to 14 months. Yeah, not very long.
Okay, you've been just over a year, and it's growing. You've been promoting it very very effectively, and you haven't been playing any games. And the results, we're hearing them, and people get results. You couldn't get better advertising, no other way. That's it.
Exactly.
All right, let's see. Is Rita there now?
It is here. How are you, Jeff?
Hey, good, Rita. Thanks. Hi. Welcome.
Good. Hi. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Rita. Glad to have you on.
Hi.
You want me to just introduce her, Jeff?
Please, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, so Rita has worked with me, and so has had more closer association with the nutritional knowledge I have to offer, and she has a unique, transformative story to share. Rita, just share with people your age, and then what's happened when you got on the product, your progression of changes in energy and improvement, and then your detox, and then on the other side of it, how you feel now.
Okay, sure. It's so detailed. If you don't mind, Stephen, since you know the history, if I leave something out, just please remind me.
Okay.
But yes, I am 48 years old. Throughout my life as a child, I suffered with asthma, and I was kept on tetracycline, an antibiotic, for years because I kept getting infections and lung infections, et cetera, and there were other medications. I was put on Prozac after my father passed away, just different things that I was put on, antibiotics throughout my life for different things. And when I came to work with Stephen, I started on the One World Whey, and it was amazing, the energy I felt and all that. So, but then all of a sudden, I had this detox effect that was just quite amazing. And
it took you about 2 months before the detox happened, right?
It did. I felt total energy. It's such a live product that, for years also, I'm a vegetarian. Sorry, been one since I was about 4 years old. So I've tried so many whey drinks, and I was just like, they don't taste good. They're dead. I mean, I could just almost tell that But yeah, about 2 months, and then all of a sudden it was just like, I would get these really bad headaches.
Well, first to start off with you having the mucus thing happen.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Mucus coming from any orifice. I mean, it was just my lungs. I think I was at work. Wasn't I at work one day, or maybe not? But
so your body was dumping mucus after you started doing the whey?
Yeah, I just want to chime in. After about 2 months, she feeling really good on the product. She then started experiencing this mucus expectoration that you went through for 3 days, and then after that, you go ahead and tell the rest of the story of how different things happened for the 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, Jeff, it was amazing. It was mucus, like from my ears, from my eyes. I mean, it's just amazing. And in my lungs, like I just would cough up.
Right.
So much mucus. It was just
the average
amazing.
person has well over a gallon of mucus systemically in their body. We think of mucus as being in the throat and the sinuses. No, it's everywhere. And so this is remarkable that product could cause that much to be expelled from the body. That's a wonderful thing. All right, stand by. We'll be right back. Hold on, Rita, in just a minute. Okay, back with Stephen and Rita. Rita, we have about another 4 minutes for you, and that's it. And we got one more guest we have to get in here, so please go right ahead.
Okay, sure. After that, also, then I started getting these horrendous headaches, and I could literally just lay in the floor and hold my head. And, remembering when I was put on Prozac, after my father passed away, and it has to pass through the blood-brain barrier, well, to my belief, it was coming back through out of the blood-brain barrier.
Which created all the inflammation and the headache. So the toxin of Prozac she took earlier stored in her brain 16 years earlier, and now it was exiting, and the body needed to create the inflammatory response to open up circulation pathways to get it out of the brain, which created her headache for 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't really even move. And I can't tell you how much better I felt, and I'll try to make this quick because it's just phenomenal. The product has changed my life. It has just put me on this, healing, through a healing crisis, a reversal process, the whole thing. I also had breast implants. I'll try to make this really brief. I would think one was over and okay, good, I'm good, and I felt great on the product. And then I would say, oops, here's something else coming out.
So let me give him a picture. Rita had breast implants put in 3 years earlier, and now her immune system, her body detoxified so successfully for 2 weeks, getting all these things out, that now it was so strengthened and immunocompetent that now it was actually detecting the foreign material of a breast implant, and her body was now rejecting the breast implant, and she had to go ahead and have them removed. Go ahead and tell them, Rita.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I had rashes all over that area, the whole thing, just very sick, very toxic, feeling terrible. So I did that.
Were these, obviously they don't use silicone very much. Were these the saline type?
No, these are silicone.
Okay, so they were. Okay.
FDA approved.
Well,
silicone.
Yeah, but silicone is a no-no. So yeah, your body was detecting that. Sure, understand. Okay.
Absolutely.
But for 3 years previously it hadn't, so that's the
well,
thing.
Sure, because it was so beaten down. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't detect them at all. And so, I had that done, had them removed, went through an infection due to that. I've, now feel great. It took some time after that due to, everything I went through from having them removed and the infections, et cetera, et cetera. I was probably 170 pounds. I'm petite, I'm only like 5'3.5". But I was a little on the thin side, wouldn't you say, Stephen?
What's that?
I was a little on the thin side.
Yeah, she was too
before.
thin. She was 106 pounds, and now she's gained 116 pounds. So she's put on 10 pounds of muscle, a good healthy weight. So.
Yeah.
All right.
I totally have, and feel just energy, much more alert.
How many grams of protein in a typical serving Stephen?
25 grams.
Okay. What are you doing? Any other supplements beside that, or was this pretty much it?
Oh,
At
no,
the time,
I did,
she was doing that and the mineral magic stuff. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I would like to add that now also, Stephen, I haven't told you this, but my hair, I mean, it was long before, but now it's longer, thicker. You know, that's one of the benefits.
Oh, and
of
you
mineral
had
magic.
real thin hair too, so that's interesting that it's thicker now. Okay.
It is. It is, and it's still fine, you know, but it's much thicker. You know, people make comments like, wow, you know, is your hair longer? Well, yes, somewhat, but it's thicker. It's just quite amazing.
Wonderful. All right, Rita. We'll give you 30 seconds more. We just got to push here. I'm sorry, but tell us more.
No worries. I mean, I could go on and on. I could be a poster person for this product.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
And for many of Stephen's products. So anybody that ever, you know, wants to call, I just can't tell you how much it can change your life and has changed mine. And to get all those toxins out of my body that I didn't even realize, you know, I knew they were there.
No,
but
nobody does,
much.
Rita. They have no idea what's lurking in their body. When 1 out of 2 people get cancer now, it doesn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah. Thanks,
no,
Rita.
It doesn't. You're right, Jeff. Thank you both so much, and thanks for having me.
Okay. Thanks, Rita.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. Take care. Yeah, you ought to put her on your site there. She's a major story. There's a book right there. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to find who's next. Andrea. Okay. Andrea is our next testimonial. And are you there, Andrea, yet?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. You've been so quiet, just sitting there. All right. Go ahead, Andrea. Tell us your story. We want to get as much as we can in our remaining time.
Okay. I was hired to take care of a 90-year-old woman for short periods of time leading up to where I would take care of her for a week. And when I first started, she was basically sleeping the majority of the day. She was up maybe at 2 o'clock for just a couple hours, and then she was down for the rest of the day. And then she would sleep all night. And she was taking a protein powder. That's the first thing that she would eat. It was called spiritine. And then she would, you know, go back to sleep. So when I first started there, after a few days, I recommended to this 90-year-old woman's daughter, you know, to get onto the One World Whey because I had been taking that and just loving it and getting all these great results. So she agreed, and I put her on the One World Whey with some raw milk. And the second day, she was up for hours. She was cooking, making food, you know, cleaning the bathroom, and it was really dramatic.
Gee.
So it was phenomenal. And then this was leading up so I could take care of her for a whole week while her daughter went on vacation. So during that week, I had her on the whey and the raw milk, and because she was up for so many hours, she was also eating more food. So when the doctor came to visit after she had been there, you know, been on the whey for a week, she had gained like 5 pounds, and she had been steadily losing weight for many, many, many months.
She was on the way out. Yeah.
She was, and this just revived her and totally brought her back to life. The doctor couldn't believe that she had put on 5 pounds that week.
Did you tell the doctor what happened?
Of course I did, yeah. I told him, and he said that was phenomenal, you know, but he wasn't interested more than that.
No, they don't. That's all. What they do is they say, that's really great, keep it up, and thanks. And that's the end of it. Right. They don't want to tell their patients, they don't want to do anything. They just never do. It's rare to find a doctor who will advise patients on excellent nutrition habits. They just don't do it.
Right.
Very good. Okay, so what is she doing now? You were taking care of her, and obviously because she was up and causing so much trouble, you asked for a raise, yes?
No, but I should have.
All right, so what's she doing now?
She's, you know, still at home. This has kept her basically from going to a nursing home.
Well, that's the last stop before Forest Lawn. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So so she's just continued to, to be up and doing more things.
Does she know what did it? She understands?
Yeah, she does.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she does. In fact, I believe she's doing now 2 to 3 shakes a day, doing the raw milk and the One World Whey. So she loves it, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I can tell a story about my dad real quick with type 2 diabetes if you've got time.
Go ahead. We have 2 minutes.
My dad has been deteriorating with type 2 diabetes for like 6-7 years, and a severe occluded arteries in his body, and especially his right leg, so that his right femoral artery, right thigh artery going to his lower leg was so blocked that if he walked just a couple blocks, his right calf muscle would just cramp and he'd be crippled. He'd have to sit down and have pain for hours. He'd been on the whey protein for 2 weeks, and he said that now when I walk, Stephen, the pain will start happening, and I have to sit down, but there's no residual pain. And basically, overall, there's less pain altogether. And that's just, reducing his inflammation and increasing his muscle endurance because of the glutathione and, of course, the branched-chain amino acids that are having such a strong effect on repairing his musculature.
Wow. That's neat. You got another minute.
Yeah, and then the other one was a case history of a woman in California who was very arthritic, and she came to her son's home, and he mixed her up a shake, and in 4 hours after taking the shake, she was now moving around the house free of pain, and her son commented, Mom, you're like moving with free of pain. What's going on? And she says, I know. She sits down and kicks her legs up and down, showing how she's so free of pain. Again, a huge anti-inflammatory effect in only 4 hours for a severe arthritic.
That's almost too much to believe. That's too short of a time for a simple product. They used to throw whey away. They didn't want it. The byproduct of cheese making. They discovered there's protein content, so it was kind of resuscitated and rehabilitated 25, 30 years ago. And now look, it's amazing what I'm hearing.
And the other thing too is the guy that Steve, that was his name, he's on my website, he gave me his testimony about his mother. He too gained muscle mass effortlessly, strengthened muscle mass just from being on the whey. And so it's another, for whether you're a bodybuilder or just simple wanting to live longer and healthier or trying to recover from something, this has become a cornerstone for people's health, One World Whey.
Wow, indeed. All right. Well, we certainly thank you for being with us tonight, Andrea, and it was a great story, wonderful story. Keep at it, and we look forward to more good stories. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Andrea, for being on.
Okay. All right, Stephen, thank you for being here. Congratulations. It's obviously a major discovery, and it's available at oneworldwhey, WHEY.com. Thanks, my friend. Take care. All right.
Bye.
Okay, that's our program tonight. We do like to do these from time to time to help you understand that there are some really remarkable things out there. A lot of hype, a lot of talk, and a lot of hot air, but when you get something that really works, it's well worth talking about. All right, that's our program tonight. Be right back with you tomorrow night in 21 hours. Have a good day tomorrow and enjoy.